This is going to cause a lot of people to fall away from God. We have to break this all the way down. We have to, because this is a prime example of exactly how the devil operates. A lot of y'all get upset with me because you say, Nick, don't give the devil any credit. Don't give him any respect. But you got to give your adversary some credit. You got to give him some respect. Otherwise, you're walking into the battle unequipped. And that's exactly what the devil wants. That's exactly what the devil wants. This case is already causing so many people to question God. I see so many unbelievers in the comment section who are literally just saying, well, here you go. More crazy Christians. That's why you can't believe in Christianity. That's why you can't believe in Jesus Christ, because look at what these crazy Christians do to their own children. I don't know if y'all heard about this case or not. This really just hit my radar in the past week. Lori Vallow Daybell was convicted of taking the lives of her own children. One of her son, adopted son, was 7 years old, and her daughter, I believe, was 16. This is a very detailed case, and I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible. But it's very important that you stick with me as much as you can throughout this video so that I can try to make this make sense. Lori Daybell, so she's the blonde woman right here, and shout out to Law and Crime Network for making this illustration. She's this blonde woman right here. She married Chad Daybell. Now, Chad Daybell apparently is some sort of quote unquote pastor or prophet, something like that. All right. Obviously a false pastor and a false prophet, but we're going to get to that in a second. Chad Daybell is obsessed with the end times. And he's very much led by Satan. And I think as we progress through this video, you'll see exactly why I say that. Lori Daybell marries Chad Daybell. These two believe that they have been called and chosen by God, by Jesus Christ, to pave the way for the return of Jesus Christ. These two individuals, Lori and Chad Daybell on your screen, they believed that they had some sort of spiritual gift that allowed them to identify the spirits within people. And this gift allowed them to create this scale that they would use to determine if somebody had demons or not, if somebody was good or if somebody was evil. And they used this spiritual scale, this quote unquote gift that they believe that God gave them, in order to make decisions about the people in their everyday life. One of those decisions that they made was that their children, 7-year-old JJ and 16-year-old Tylee, were possessed. So much so that they actually referred to their children as zombies. And the only way that they could, quote unquote, deliver their children from these demonic zombies that were possessing them was to take their life. And that's exactly what they did. And all of this that they did, and Lori has been convicted of this and she's been sentenced, which we're going to get to in a second. But all of this was under the direction of what they say is Jesus Christ. But obviously we know that that is a complete and utter demonic lie, literally from hell. Literally from hell. But it goes deeper. Not only, and honestly, the fact that they took the lives of their children, that's the most heinous, that's the most nefarious, that's the most demonic, that is the most heartbreaking thing in this entire story. It doesn't get any worse than that, in my opinion. It doesn't get any worse than that. But using that same logic of being able to identify the spirits within people and using a scale to determine who's evil and who's good, Lori and Chad also determined that Lori's husband, Charles Vallow, was possessed, so they offed him as well. They also determined that Chad's wife, Tammy Daybell, was possessed, and they offed her as well. Lori's husband on the left, he has a black polo on. He was found deceased in July 2019. Chad's wife on the right with the blue polo on was found deceased in October 2019. Lori and Chad were married November 5, 2019. So just 1 month after they decided to kill Chad's wife, Lori and Chad got married. And this was just 3 months after they offed Lori's husband because they were demons, so they say. I want to show you something that was very interesting. Throughout the case and from different articles and different sources that I was researching and preparing for this video, it's so strange. Lori refers to herself as a goddess, and she refers to herself as some sexual goddess that was sent by Jesus. And she references, and I'm going to show you in this video, she references an encounter that she has with Jesus in heaven, where Jesus tells her that there is still more that she has to do in order to prepare the way. And that more that she had to do was essentially taking the lives of her children. Now, anyone who has a brain, you can understand that this is a woman who is not operating under the will of God whatsoever. This is the complete opposite of what God did for us. God said, look, I know y'all messed up. You sinned. But I'm going to come down as a human, as Jesus Christ, and I'm going to bear the cost of your mistake, and I'm going to die on the cross for you because that's how much I love you. God died for his children. So why would he tell you to kill yours? That instruction did not come from the Most High. That came from the one down below. I want to show you this video because it's so interesting, but I just want to say the devil is very cunning and crafty in the way that he works. Because a case like this that has gotten so much media attention, naturally, it's going to create doubt in the minds of unbelievers. And it's going to make unbelievers believe that Christians are crazy, that God is not real. Because how could God allow something like this to happen? And during the first thing that she says during her opening statement, and this is for her sentencing, so this was the hearing that she just was a part of for her sentencing, she references scripture. Let me play this because it's going to blow your mind, and then we're going to have a conversation about it.
I would like to start by quoting John from the New Testament in the Bible. In John chapter 8, verse 7, Jesus says, "He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her." Then in verse 15, Jesus says, "Ye judge after the flesh. I judge no man. And yet if I judge, my judgment is true." Jesus knows me, and Jesus understands me. I mourn with all of you who mourn, my children and Tammy. Jesus Christ knows the truth of what happened here. Jesus Christ knows that no one was murdered in this case. Accidental deaths happen. Suicides happen. Fatal side effects from medications happen. I have a different perspective in life because in 2002, when I was pregnant with Tylee, I died in the hospital while in labor with her. They tried to stop my labor. They put me on the table and they put something in my IV, and I felt my spirit falling to the floor. I was standing near my pregnant body, watching the doctors try to revive me, which took them a few minutes. In that time, my sister Stacy was standing to my left. I turned to hug her and was surprised that her spirit was as tangible as a physical body, because I knew I was in spirit and she was in spirit. She said she needed to show me some things, and we went to heaven. I later returned to my body. Because of this experience, I have access to heaven and the spirit world. Since then, I have had many communications from people now living in heaven, including my children, Tylee Ashlyn and Joshua Jackson, my sisters, Stacy and Lolly, my aunts and my uncles, and my grandparents. I have had many communications with Jesus Christ, the Savior of this world, and our heavenly parents. I've had many angelic visitors have come and communicated with me and even manifested themselves to me. Because of these communications, I know for a fact that my children are happy and busy in the spirit world. Because of my communications with my friend Tammy Daybell, I know that she is also very happy and extremely busy. I have always mourned the loss of my loved ones, and I have lost many in this mortal world. However, I know them more than most people. I know where they are now and what they're doing. I know how wonderful heaven is, and I'm homesick for it every single day. I know we all lived in heaven before we were born on earth, and we were all adult spirits in the heavenly realm. We chose to come to earth as mortals. Heaven is more wonderful than you can possibly imagine. I do not fear death, but I look forward to it. I did not want to return to my body when I was out of it. Even though my son Colby, who I adored more than anything, was only 6 years old at the time, and I was about to give birth to this new baby girl that I wanted so badly. I was a young mother And you would think I wouldn't want to leave my children, but as I stood in heaven, I did not want to go back. I thought they would be fine without me because I was peaceful and I was happy and I was home. But then I was told by Jesus that I needed to go back and complete things that I had covenanted or promised to do before I was born. This caused me a lot of distress because I knew heaven was my real home.
I want to pause it right there. Here's something that we gotta understand something. Because they're calling her the cult mom, the doomsday cult mom. Something about these cults and something about these false religions, there's a reoccurring theme. There's this reoccurring theme that one person in the cult or one person in the false religion always has some sort of new revelation. They always have some sort of new information directly from the mouth of God, directly from the mouth of Jesus Christ, instructing them to do something that none of us else have access to. And that's exactly what she's saying. She's saying, I was in heaven and Jesus talked to me face to face and said, hey, I know you want to stay here, but you got to go back and there's things that you have to do. There's covenants that you made. There's commitments and promises that you made that you have to carry out on earth before you can come back. And as she continues speaking, you'll find out that those covenants that she was saying that Jesus told her to complete was actually taking the lives of her children. She was not having a conversation with God. She was not having a conversation with Jesus Christ. She was having a conversation with the devil. She was having a conversation with demons. We do not serve a God who instructs us to harm the people that we love, to harm our children. Like I said, we serve a God who took it upon himself to bear the cross that we deserved in our place. So when you hear these people talking about the revelation that they have, and they're so convicted by this revelation that they have, that they never actually go to the Bible and test the spirits because they feel so special. These demons got them feeling so special, like they had a one-on-one encounter when it was all a lie. It was all deception. And now she was influenced, demonically influenced, to take the lives of her children who are 7 and 16 years old. Her 7-year-old child was autistic. In the article that I was reading, one of the determinations that this woman made that pushed her to take the life of her 7-year-old was the fact that he was acting out more, that he wasn't being good anymore, that he was yelling and that he was screaming, that he was having all of these these spouts of anger and rage. But then when you keep reading in the article, you find out that that child was actually autistic. He's autistic. Nor children who do not struggle with autism, they go through bouts of temper tantrums. Now think about an autistic child. Of course, they're going to go through bouts of having confusion, temper tantrums, being upset for seemingly no reason. But you're his mother. You got to work through that with him. The solution is not to take his life. And the fact that you sat here in court, and you quoted a scripture and you said that my God, your God, I'm not talking about her. I'm talking to everyone watching and listening. You said that our God told you to do that. y'all got to understand, that's not Jesus that she was talking to. Those are demons. Those are demons.
Only wanted to be there. I was free from pain, emotional and physical. But then I was shown how I would help my children and others in the future. So ultimately, I did agree to go back to my body. Tylee has visited me. She is happy and very busy. Tylee is free now from all the pains of her life. Tylee suffered horrible physical pain her whole life. I sat with Tylee in the hospital year after year after year while she screamed in pain when the morphine wasn't even enough to take away the pain of her pancreatitis. I sat there while she cried and I held back her hair while she threw up. And I am the only person on this earth who knows how much Tylee suffered in her life. She had pain every single day. She never felt good. Her body did not work right. And I don't know if that was from complications from me dying while she was being born or something else, but she had a very difficult life.
You see what she's doing? Because she's already been found guilty at this point. This is to determine if she's going to get the death penalty or not, which she got. But you see what she's doing? She's basically admitting and she's making justifications as to why she did what she did. She's saying, okay, my daughter was in pain. She suffered from this illness and now she's in a better place. Now she's happy. It's insane. It's really insane.
She was sexually abused by her own biological father since she was 3 years old, and she was forced by family court to go visit him for 10 years against her will. I fought for her in court. I protected her. I tried to protect her with my whole life. I tried to protect her. I worried about her every single day. Tylee had to get her GED because she couldn't go to school every day because she never felt good. She felt sick. Nobody knows this because Tylee, like myself, tries to put on a good front, tries to be a happy person, tries to have hope in life, tries to know that she's here for a purpose and that she has an eternal purpose to be on this earth. But I never stopped worrying about her. One of the times that Tylee came to me as a spirit after she died, she commanded me and she said to me, "Stop worrying, Mom. We are fine." She knows how I worry and how I miss her.
She said her daughter came to her as a spirit and said, "Stop worrying, Mom, we are fine." You see what's going on? The demons are comforting her. The demons are comforting her. It's really sad all around when you really sit back and think about it. Because I truly think, and we're going to get into something in a second where the judge responds and he basically says that you did what you did because of the money, because they got some sort of life insurance policy off of this, and because they were going to get Social Security checks from the children. And they did get social security checks from the children. And the judge was saying, you did this for the money. That might have been one component to it. But I truly believe that she really thought that what she was doing was right. I think that she truly thought that what she was doing was good. And I think that's the saddest part about it is the deception. The devil can make us believe that what is evil is actually good. And that's what she was going through. And she really thought that she was communicating with God and that God was approving of this behavior. But as you can see, she was haunted by it. If that was truly the right decision that God directed you to do, why were you haunted by it? Why are these spirits coming to you and telling you that you did the right thing? Don't you think God himself would come to you again, like you said that he did in heaven, and tell you that you did the right thing and not to stress, But instead, you have these quote unquote spirits of your daughter, which was not your daughter. Those are demons that are coming to you. These demons are coming to you and comforting you. They're comforting the heinous decision that you made.
The first time JJ visited me after he passed away,
So JJ's her 7-year-old.
his arm around me, and he said to me, "You didn't do anything wrong, Mom. I love you, and I know you loved me every minute of my life." JJ, Joshua Jackson, was an adult spirit, and he was very, very tall when he put his arm around me. He is busy. He is engaged. He has jobs that he does there, and he is happy where he is. His life was short, but JJ's life was meaningful. JJ was a wonderful person and touched the lives of everyone, and I adored him every minute of his life. My eternal friend, Tammy Daybell, has visited me on several occasions. She came to bring me peace and comfort, and I know that she is extremely busy helping her family, especially her children and grandchildren. And I have a great love for Tammy.
So all three of the individuals that she took the lives of are appearing to her, right? And saying that it's okay. Once again, I think the reason why, and I'm going to show you the judge's response, and I thought it was a very good response by him. I'm going to show you that in a second. But the reason why I even wanted to talk about this in the first place is because it's a very real spiritual battle that we are going through every single day. It's a very real spiritual battle. And when you have cases like this that misrepresent God in this manner, at this scale, in terms of media attention, it could only be the work of one person, and that's the devil. That's Satan. Because if Satan can misrepresent God at this scale, Satan can potentially influence people from never truly opening their hearts to know God for themselves. And I want to make it very clear, and y'all already know this. This is not from God. But for those of you who are watching who may not know God, who may not be a follower of Jesus, who may not have put your faith in Jesus, just know that this is not the work of God. This is the work of Satan. And I think everyone knows that in their spirit, but some people like to make excuses and they like to find justifications as to why they believe they shouldn't follow God and submit their lives to God. And sadly enough, some people will use this case as a reason to do just that. This is the judge's response right here.
Most serious offense. And the most unimaginable type of murder is to have a mother murdering her own children. And that's exactly what you did. You were involved in and guilty of conspiring to murder another group of children's mother, Tammy Daybell, who had children of her own. And despite the jury convicting you with overwhelming evidence, you still sit here before the court today and said you didn't do it. You came here to East Idaho, where I've spent my life, and moved here from another place already with plans in progress to make your children disappear. The evidence bore that out at trial. You removed your children from their home in Arizona, alienated them from friends and family, got rid of JJ's service dog. You moved to Rexford, a community where you could find 1,000 random families to take your children, and you brought them here to murder them. You had so many other options. You could have gotten divorced. You could have found someone to take care of those kids. But as the state was able to prove at trial, you chose the most evil and destructive path possible. You killed those children, according to the state's theory, and I believe it, to remove them as obstacles and to profit financially. You justified all of this by going down a bizarre religious rabbit hole, and clearly you are still down there. While you were enjoying your new life in Hawaii, countless law enforcement officers, family members, and volunteers were searching for your children. And I don't think to this day you have any remorse for the effort and heartache you caused for others who looked for your children when you knew where they were and knew.
Y'all, she was in Hawaii. She did this, months had passed. They're looking for the kids. At one point, she tells her best friend at the time, hey, if the cops call you, because they're gonna call you, when they call you, I want you to tell them that JJ is at your house watching Frozen 2. That's what she told her best friend. Meanwhile, they're up in Hawaii. Her and her husband are in Hawaii, chilling. Job's done. They retired. They're chilling. Living off the social security check that they're getting from their children. And the life insurance money.
Were dead. They were found dead, burned, mutilated, and dismembered, and buried like animals. After you knew they were dead, you collected public funded assistance payments meant for them, and that was blood money you kept for yourself. And that's the grand theft charge you've been convicted of. Your sister, your son talked to you, begged with you while you were in the jail during phone calls I heard at trial. And those were very sad and difficult calls to hear. And you didn't provide any assistance or comfort to them. During the trial, when the evidence came out about how these children were found and the state they were in, you wanted to be excused and not have to watch the evidence, and were fine to let all the other people in the courtroom, including the jurors, have to bear through that. However, I ruled that you did have to sit and watch and see the result of your heinous crimes. Tammy Daybell was murdered as a result of your conspiracy. She was, by all accounts, a healthy, happy mother and wife through a lot of her life. And you were out shopping for wedding rings to marry her husband while she was still alive. You were planning a wedding to her husband while she was still alive. You haven't shown any remorse for any of those actions. And she ended up being murdered, buried, had to be disinterred later so an autopsy could be performed in order to prove the evidence of what you had done. She didn't deserve any of that.
And y'all got to understand something. She did all of this. She's shopping for wedding rings to marry another woman's husband. Just months before actually taking her life. This woman is doing all of this in the same time period that she's claiming to be operating under the will and direction of God. I mean, like I said, it's very clear to me she was demonically possessed. But people who don't understand that type of stuff will look at it and say, wow, look at your God. Look at your God. But that's not the God that we serve. We know the God that we serve would never do anything like that.
Life away. You destroyed that family, fractured it to the point where, in the information I've had through the PSI, there are relationships that will probably never be mended that have rippled as a result of what's happened. JJ and Tylee, of course, 7 years old, 16 years old, were separate people whose lives were cut way too short because of you. Never got to grow up and be adults. The family and friends who have provided their impact statements, of course, have stated it better than I could about who they were. And it is a loss for everyone that you took them away from this world. And it is the most shocking thing, really, I can imagine, is that a mother killed her own children and you simply have no remorse for it. Even sitting here today, there's no remorse for what you did. After all of this evidence through trial, you haven't shown any remorse. You haven't said you're sorry. You haven't done anything to seek leniency from this court. You may not believe to this day that you've done anything wrong, and you still may think you're justified by your religious beliefs for what happened here. I'm not here to judge that, but I don't believe that any God in any religion would want to have this happen, what happened here. And your crimes are heinous and egregious, and that alone can constitute a major aggravating factor that requires me to impose a serious length of incarceration.
And that's exactly what he did. He did impose a serious length of incarceration. He gave her 3 consecutive life sentences. But you know, even that is a win for the devil. And that's what you got to understand. It's a spiritual battle that we are fighting every single day. It's a spiritual battle that we are fighting every single day, and you have to choose a side. And if you're not picking a side, then you're on the enemy's side. You have to choose a side. If you're going to put your faith in Jesus, then put your faith in Jesus and live for Christ and submit your life to Christ. The God of the Bible, not the God that this woman fantasized and, thought that she encountered. That's not God. I'm talking about the God that we find in Scripture, in the Bible. When we're reading the Bible led by the Holy Spirit, with a pure heart, with faith. You got to choose a side. You got to choose a side. And the winning side is the side of Jesus Christ. And everything that you just watched, that is from the devil, 100%. Make no doubt about it. Do not be deceived. Do not be deceived. Let me know what you think about this video. Get in my comments. Like this video if you actually like this video. And look, once again, I'm sorry. I didn't even really want to have this conversation, but I just had to talk about this situation because so much of what I was seeing was really bothering me, and the response from people was really bothering me as well. So let me know what you think in the comments. All right, I'm out.